Welcome to SuperTalk, the podcast that scratches your superhero itch. Just two suburban dads nerding out over superhero stuff on the small screen and the big. Buckle up, people. Enjoy the ride. You ready, sir?
Yep.
In 3.
Welcome to Super Talk, the weekly podcast dedicated to news and reviews of comic book media on the big and small screen. This is episode number 53. I'm your host, Brian Professor Pettis, and with me, as always, is my illustrious co-host, Titanium Tony Estrella. Titanium.
Professor.
Back in the studio.
We're back in the studio. A little bit of different arrangement here. But shit, take us to school, Professor.
Yeah, well, first thing we want to talk about is thank, number one, our host last week, Mustang Sally Brewing Company, msbrewing.com. You want to visit them online. We're very gracious in hosting our live anniversary show last week in their tasting room in Chantilly, Virginia. So thank you to Mustang Sally.
And the beers were fantastic. I think I had 4 or 5 of them. I don't know how I got home in... one of the kids drove me home, but I don't know how I got home with all the equipment and everything that we brought
It's
there.
surprising that we actually came home with everything we brought there.
Yeah.
But gracious host, and what a great place to have our anniversary podcast.
What was your feedback from that? I got a lot of positive from the fans and family. They really liked it.
It was nothing but favorite feedback. Hey, it was so great. It was like sitting in taping of a live show. Like if we were going to watch The Tonight Show or Jimmy Kimmel or whatever.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
Exactly.
The Tonight Show. Wow.
Right. But they were like, it's like being in a live audience of a show, and like just watching you guys interact and talk. It's kind of like listening to you guys on your podcast. Right. It was different seeing it recorded live, but it was a lot of fun to be there. So,
I think a lot of people were give us kudos for putting it together. Like, wow, I didn't know how much goes behind the scenes of putting something like that together. I'm like, it's we were doing it for a year, so we got it.
An hour in advance, and we had packed stuff up way in advance, and we were just getting everything set up and connected.
Yeah, you and I drank a beer before people even started getting there.
Yeah, it was great. But
it was a lot of fun.
Thanks to all the family, friends, fans that came out to watch the show. We really appreciate your support.
We're going to do it again.
Yeah.
We're going to do it again either at Mustang Sally's and sometime this summer we're going to be at Beer Chase Brewery out there. Bear Chase, I'm sorry. Yeah. Did I say Beer Chase?
Beer Chase. Yeah, be chasing beers at Bear Chase for sure.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Bear Chase Brewery out in, where is that? It's out in
Luckettsville?
Luckettsville, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Luckettsville, Virginia. We got an invitation to go out there, record a live show. We'll happily do that. And I think we're still planning on being at Fairfax Comic-Con in March. So that will likely be our next live show. If we do another live show, we'll be at Fairfax Comic-Con. If that goes forward, again, that was canceled last year due to COVID restrictions.
Past 2 years.
Yeah. So we'll definitely, we're hoping that's going forward. And if so, we're going to have a booth there. We'll do our show from there, and we'll get to meet some people as well. So
yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I hope that works. Well, Professor, take us to school, will you?
All right. Well, before we get started, I do want to make one big announcement. So today is my son's 18th birthday. Happy birthday, Charlie.
Happy birthday, brother.
I've now got a house full of adults other than my pets. But, wow, to have my youngest be 18 is kind of tells me how old I am. But happy birthday, Charlie. I love you. And we're going to have a good time tonight. And thanks to our patrons. These are the listeners that bring the show to you. And those are those listeners that have chosen to donate $1 an episode to help bring the show to you. All the things we do, like the remote broadcast and all the giveaways we do, that helps support that. So thanks to our patrons. If you want to become a patron, patreon.com/supertalk is the easiest way to do that. We really appreciate the support. So thanks for those out there who have done that already.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll run it across the screen for the YouTube show. I always put it down at the bottom, but appreciate all those people that donate and help out the show. It gives us a little bit of flexibility to be able to pack some of this equipment up and go and do a remote show and have a lot of fun on the road for our fans.
Absolutely. So thanks for all your support, patrons. Let's jump right into it. Let's get into the reviews this week. We thankfully got some new content to discuss this week. Peacemaker dropped on HBO Max this week, and big gift they gave us. The first 3 episodes dropped, so not only did we get to see the premiere episode, but we got to get 3 full episodes of Peacemaker, and wow. That's all I can say is wow. Didn't miss a beat. Just, I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing plays out. It was really, really good.
You know, I didn't like it. I fucking loved it. It was
Like, where's he going with
brilliant. It was unbelievable. James Gunn, the guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, the latest one, directed and wrote this, and it is just phenomenal. I would put it right up there with The Boys. It's as inappropriate and as gory as The Boys, but is so much funnier. I think it's just hilarious.
It is very much. I mean, I think you said this last week, Titanium. James Gunn, I think, just gets the comic book media genre. I think he just gets it. So,
well, I think he's a fanboy and a huge nerd himself. So he's
obvious.
writing for himself.
That's obvious that he is. But I think he gets it, and I think that's why he's gravitated towards the comic book, I'll say, heroes that he's made movies of, specifically Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad, have more of a comedic undertone.
Sure.
Just the heroes themselves. It's not like this super serious, like Avengers type of heroes. They
have one-liners every once in a while. These guys are hitting one-liners all the time.
I mean, you watch both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and that's all it is. It's like, you know, they're just trading off of each other the whole time.
Yeah.
And you know, when we saw the Suicide Squad and who they had cast in the roles for that movie, you're like, wow, these are some pretty funny people.
Yeah.
You know, and we saw that play out in the movie, and I think we had very high hopes for the Peacemaker series, not only because of what John Cena did in the Suicide Squad movie. He really did. He was like just a pleasant surprise. Like, you know, he wasn't the big named star that was supposed to be in that movie. Obviously, we had Idris Elba. We had Harley Quinn, what's her name? Margot Robbie. Yeah. You know, so we had some...
Smoke show.
Yeah. Big stars in that movie already. And they weren't looking for somebody to carry, but they did need somebody to play a really important role in that movie. And John Cena just really took that role and just ran with it and was awesome in it.
You know, he tried out for several other roles, and I believe one role in Shazam he tried out for. I don't know what role that was, but I heard he's tried out for several superhero roles in several superhero movies and productions, and didn't get any of it. But I can tell you this with confidence: John Cena was born to play Peacemaker. He is perfect. He is fantastic.
I can't say anything but agree with you. I mean, he really has taken, and I think, and we'll kind of get into it when we talk about the actual show itself, but what he did in the movie was very true to the character and the history of that character in the comic books. And I think what James Gunn is now doing with the character in this series is kind of making him have this internal struggle a little bit about, you know, his mission and what he really stands for. And you're kind of seeing that play out in these first 3 episodes. But I'm telling you, he's fun to watch. He's not only funny, but he's you know, he was a professional wrestler for many years, so he's gifted physically.
Yeah.
Can do all the fight scenes and stunts himself. And there's no way they're casting a body double for John Cena. I mean, you just can't do that. I mean, he's a huge human being. But he really handled it all very well. And I loved all 3 episodes, and I love where they're going with this show and this character. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, some of the lines. My nickname in high school was Chimp Arm. He was talking about his penis. I lost it. I mean, some of that creative one-liners, it's just fantastic. It really is. If you haven't watched it, watch it. We're going to go through it, right?
Yeah, let's go through it.
Okay.
So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, right, we'll start there. But, again, we got the first 3 episodes, and in the first episode really picks up from where the Suicide Squad movie left off.
5 months after.
We saw the end credit scene of the Suicide Squad movie. John Cena did survive, not only being shot, but by the building falling on top of him. He survived, and he was in the hospital. And we saw 2 of the agents who worked for Task Force X show up at the hospital and like, oh my God, this guy's still alive, and I can't believe we're being tasked with you know, babysitting him.
The blonde chick is James Gunn's girlfriend,
right?
And she's a smoke show.
Yeah,
she's hot. When at one scene, she's in her bra and underwear, and she's running around her room trying to get dressed. I was like, damn, she's a smoke show.
Yeah, I think James Gunn is like hitting out of his. He's hitting way above his average with this one.
He's punting out of his punt field.
He's over punting his coverage.
He's over punting his coverage. Yeah. I think so too. But and you can tell he writes to make her look amazing.
Yeah.
He definitely gives her some great lines and has created her character.
I think
as
her
a
name
badass.
is Amelia Harcourt.
Harcourt.
Yeah, and she's definitely a big focus of the show as well. So again, the series starts off with John Cena in the hospital recovering from his injuries. He's now being released from the hospital, and he's surprised. He's like, "Hang on a second, I was supposed to be going to prison for killing Rick Flag, and they're just letting me walk away." And so he's kind of surprised by that, and he's in his hometown. So that's the other big surprise about this, is that where he's in the hospital is where he's from. So this whole series takes place in his hometown, and I don't know where that is physically, but it's somewhere in the Midwest, it looks like to me.
Yeah, and
it's a fictional city.
It is a fictional city, but it's a fictional city in a lot of the Green Lantern
comics, right?
Green Lantern comics. So the town that he's from is also represented a lot in the Green Lanterns, which a lot of people are speculating that the Green Lantern series that's coming to HBO Max maybe a year or two from now could have something to do with that. There could be a crossover.
And there might be some references to that or something, right? Yeah, we might meet like a John Stewart or something like that,
or Hal Jordan,
or something. Yeah, we'll figure that out. But he's in town. He kind of leaves, gets out of the hospital, and he's in his old uniform that he was wearing during the whole the Suicide Squad movie. And what was the name of the country they were in? Moldova or something like that. Corto Maltese.
Corto Maltese.
Yeah. So he's still in that same uniform. It's all damaged and ratty. And he makes his way back to his trailer, which is also hysterical. It's a trailer on the side of the road painted red, white, and blue.
Like Captain America, like the American flag.
Yeah, it's just funny for him to get there. But then he ends up like having to, I guess, get back on track, and he goes and visits his father, which is just another amazing actor. It's guy from Terminator. What's his name?
Yeah. I don't know his name.
Yeah. We'll look it up.
I'll put it up on the screen for YouTubers.
But so he meets his father and goes back to his dad's house.
Who's a racist son of a bitch. Who was so bad. But we later find out who he is.
Right. And again, this is somewhat true to his backstory in the comics. I don't want to get too much into it because it's our topic of the week. But, he was raised by his father. And you heard when the Suicide Squad movie was coming out, the backstory that was given to him was very similar to that for
Bloodshot.
Same backstory where his father trained him since he was a child to be the master of all these weapons and
to be an assassin,
right?
Hardcore killer.
But his father definitely manipulated him as a young child, and you kind of saw the relationship between the two of them. He went there really to get his car, get his another uniform, but also get Eagly, his pet, which is a lot of CGI. But man, the relationship that Eagly has with Peacemaker is hysterical. He's hugging him in the garage. And, Dad, get my camera. He's hugging me.
Eagly is probably right up there with Rocket as far as creative insertion of I guess it's almost like his partner, almost like his sidekick.
It's his sidekick. Well, he said, and he calls him his best friend.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot about the character, that his best friend.
A good friend of mine asked me and said, "Now, did they really train an eagle to do all that?" I said, "No. That is absolutely."
I think that says a lot of where technology's come, because they're able to do CGI with this eagle.
It looks so real. It's great.
Yeah. But he picks up his pet eagle, and then he's telling his dad the story about how there was a guy that he was on this team with who was afraid of rats, and one of the people on the team her superpowers were the ability to control rats, and he was like freaking out. And he was so afraid of rats because his dad used to shut him in a room with rats, and they would bite him all over. And his dad starts cracking up. He goes, "Please tell me this isn't the guy that shot you." And he's like,
it's top secret. I can't talk about what happened.
So, but you see the relationship between them very strained.
Yeah.
We also find out that his dad is more than he's letting on. He has a secret room in his house that leads to some
portal, some weird portal that leads to this weapons and kind of a lab where he creates all this stuff. Which one of the things is several helmets for Peacemaker, which is kind of cool. So we know where Peacemaker gets his tech.
Well, and the helmets each have a different ability, right? So he's like, hey, this is a helmet that has sonic powers. This is a helmet that has a built-in force field. This is the helmet that'll give you
X-ray vision.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so he's like, well, which one do you think I need, Dad? So like, but it's the same like metal big.
Yeah. Different little designs, but it's that same toilet bowl, the shiny toilet bowl helmet, which is hilarious.
But yeah, so he gets his car, he gets his pet eagle, and he gets a new uniform, and then he has to, and he's visited by, the members of Task Force X, and said, look,
Waller's team that she put together to recruit him, and the only reason he's not going back to prison is he has to work with Task Force X, and these people feel like they're being punished for being assigned. Yeah, all of them feel like they're being punished for being assigned to Peacemaker and the mission of eliminating what they call butterflies.
Right. And he doesn't know what he's doing, but he ends up meeting them at a restaurant. What another great scene! And they're all sitting in a restaurant. He walks in his full uniform. Does this guy come in his uniform? In his costume?
What's with the cosplay?
Yeah, what's with the costume? He goes, excuse me, this is a uniform, right? It's so hysterical, but. He gets to meet all the people he's going to be working with, and they give him this mission. Like, we need to hunt down these butterflies, and he's not really sure. Am I fighting Mothra? Yeah. I mean, if I need to know if I'm fighting Mothra, I need to know, right? Just so many great little.
Just like in the Suicide Squad, where they're like Project Starfish. Now, is Project Starfish has to do with buttholes? Because buttholes are often referenced to starfish.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
Starfish
hilarious.
is a anagram for butthole, right? So funny. But yeah, so he's anyway. We find out that he's being sent on these missions to kill, and he's given a task to kill a senator.
Yeah.
And the senator is a butterfly, and you need to go kill him. And he's like, okay, well, that's my job. I'm going to go do it. He does have a scene with Hardcourt in a bar. He's definitely infatuated with her. He's hitting on her a little bit. We see how much of a badass she is. A couple guys are kind of giving her dirty looks at the bar, and she kind of beats the shit out of them. So we get to see how cool she is, and then he's like, "Oh my god, that was so hot!" Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Look, I've been in prison for 4 years or whatever." He's like, "I haven't been with anybody." He said, "I haven't been with a woman in 4 years." He goes, "I haven't been with anybody in 4 years." He goes, "Oh, I haven't been with a woman in 4 years." So that was also another funny one-liner. But she's like, I'm just here trying to have a beer. So there's they're setting up some sexual tension between the two of them. And
yeah.
The relationship's going to be part of this series going forward.
And after the third episode, you can kind of tell that she's starting to see a sad side in him. Like he's got depth. He's not this big doof. He's been kind of raised by this super villain maniac. And he's kind of fucked up, but you kind of see that she's kind of seeing a different side of him, which is kind of cool. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, I think it's great.
Robert Patrick's the guy who plays
Robert Patrick, the father. Okay,
he played the Terminator in Terminator 2, which was the liquid metal Terminator, which was really cool. But anyway, so he ends up hooking up with a girl at the bar, is giving him oogly eyes, and they hook up back at her apartment. And then all of a sudden she attacks him while he's in his underwear dancing, which is also hysterical.
Yeah, later you find out that she actually read his secret file that he was supposed to take home and read and study. She's actually on the bed reading it, like an after credit scene you see.
Well, we end up finding out she's a butterfly. She's trying to kill him. And
great fight scene.
Yeah, she's incredibly strong. unnaturally strong and can like jump out of a building and land with no problem. And
she's got like this 80s Pat Benatar hair. You know, she's like a rocker chick, and she's got a ton of like 80s hairband. Like,
and he's all infatuated with like he's got all these 80s, and that was another good undertone. I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, the music.
So James Gunn is very well known for how he integrates music into his movies, and we've seen that with the Guardians of the Galaxy. The soundtracks for the first 2 movies were incredible. The music he brought into Infinity War and Endgame was incredible, as well as what he did with the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
He wanted the music for the movie to kind of represent, the time frame as well as what's going on in the movie. And this is there's a very 80s hair metal,
yes,
hair metal music undertone to this series. And John Cena is a big hair metal fan, and he sees her vinyl collection.
Yeah, Peacemaker.
Peacemaker is. He sees her vinyl collection, and it's all these hair metal bands from the 80s, and he starts dancing to them.
Cinderella, and all these cool bands.
So good.
It's so great. The music is fantastic and goes along with the action. It really sets the tone. I mean, good music in any kind of production can make or break it. I'm convinced of it.
And the funny part, he's singing one of these songs, and then after, this butterfly tries to kill him, he ends up using his suit's powers, and she basically gets disintegrated. But then he's like, I got to go back and get my stuff in her room. And it's his uniform, obviously, was what he's talking about. But he says, oh, screw it, I'm going to take all this other stuff. And he grabs all of her albums and CDs and everything else and puts them in this bag. And he's jumping out of the building. I mean, that whole scene was just hysterical.
I mean, it's awesome. It's just so clever and well written and directed. And you're right, the undertone of the music just brings it a notch up, It takes it a notch up.
Look, I'm a big 80s hair metal fan, so I mean, for me, it was like really cool to see that
I love 80s music.
What this series is really going to be about. But we kind of see, they go back and we find out that hey, his team kind of rescues him from that situation. The cops are after him, and funny enough, his car gets blown up in that, and the other guy, part of the team, I'll look up his...
The tech guy.
Yeah.
He calls him Dyed Beard. Because he always accuses him, he calls him Dyed Beard because the guy has a two-toned beard, and he teases him that that he dyes his beard. It's a dyed beard, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, Steve Agee, who plays John Economist is the name of the character,
who basically says, I would rather work with Batmite, which is a throwback to the Batmite, the Batman.
We had a lot of references to other DC heroes.
Absolutely.
In this. The dad's neighbor was saying, Peacemaker, you're not a hero. Batman's a hero.
Yeah.
And we hear
the janitor in the beginning that said Aquaman, and he went on this tangent about, Aquaman's pretty cool, but when you start fucking fish, that's where I draw the line.
I got a friend of mine who told me that he was calling fish over. I'm like, oh
boy.
Yeah. So we got dropped all the names of a lot of DC superheroes in this as well. So we know that this takes place in the DCEU, which is another big thing. But the John Economist character ends up. Hey, his car got blown up. Can you re-register the tags and put him on? He's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of that. And he points the finger at his father, and the guy who plays Myrn, who's the in charge of this team that's leading this mission,
who's got a dark back story too that we don't know about yet.
Right. But it's the one that Waller's tasked with.
Amanda Waller,
leading this mission. He basically says, wait a minute. You fingered his father? I mean, it's like you could have fingered anybody, and so the cops go visit his father, who is like, just the worst person you could point the finger at. But anyway, that whole thing happens. They end up going back, and that's kind of the end of the first episode. We kind of get through that. The second episode was really focused on really moving the mission forward of them kind of getting, going after this senator and figuring out what they have to do.
We're introduced to. What is it? Vengeance?
Vigilante,
which is a great character that James Gunn has put into this. He thinks he is Peacemaker's partner.
Best friend.
And he is so psychotic. It is hilarious. And their banter back and forth is very funny. But apparently he's quite the marksman, and they go out into the woods and start shooting up appliances. and it's a great music playing in the background, great hairband rock music in the background, and they're shooting stuff up, and it's hilarious.
Well, he was the guy who was in the restaurant that Peacemaker.
He's the waiter, yeah.
The waiter, and he's like, "Oh, Peacemaker's back," but he's in this uniform that he never takes his helmet off because he doesn't want anybody to know who he is. But we see some of that. I mentioned earlier that inner struggle that John Cena and Peacemaker are going through. Of I'm a vigilante for hire. I'm a mercenary. I'm willing to kill anybody as long as it leads towards peace. But he's struggling with that because he realizes, he killed Rick Flag when he probably shouldn't have, but that was his mission, and he's struggling with that.
Yes.
And Vigilante's like, dude, you're the best. You shouldn't be upset. You just keep doing it, and he tries to take him out to the woods, as Titanium mentioned, just to have, release some steam, and they're like shooting up everything. It was like a big party scene with the two of them. But we get to see the Vigilante character kind of, he wants to be more involved with what Peacemaker's doing, but he's not part of the team, but he wants to be part of the team, right?
I think at the end of the third episode, he becomes part of the team. For sure.
And another big thing we saw in the second episode was a big reveal. There's a new character that was brought in. Leota Adebayo is the name of the character. She's on the team, brand new, and nobody knows who she is, but she's now on the team. Like Waller put on the team. We find out that it's actually Waller's daughter.
Yeah, they're video chatting through the computer.
And she's there kind of as a mole.
Yeah, you're my eyes and ears to make sure this goes. And she's got all the training, and she is Waller's daughter, so she's been put on the team to be the eyes and ears for her.
And she's married to another female, and she's brought her wife and they're
her
with
dogs.
And their dogs with them, and they're like, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
that's not safe for them." But yeah, she's kind of strange, and we find some things out about her as well. Her kind of why she's there.
Great actress, plays the part really.
Yep.
Innocent, but kind of wants to be a badass. And we don't know everything about her yet, but we know enough she's very interesting. Great character.
And then we'll move real quickly into synopsis of the third episode. They're actually now going off and going to kill the senator. So they set up in the woods outside of the senator's home, and they put cameras on the trees and everything else, and they're all sitting there, kind of like waiting for them to come home so they can assassinate them. And we get, there's a couple of bodyguards, and one of the bodyguards the senator has is a character from some of the old Peacemaker comic books. Judo master. He's like a real small.
Yeah. He's like 4'9" or 4'8".
But he's a martial arts expert. But Peacemaker and Hardcore are there, and they kind of start, I guess, understanding each other a little bit better as they're talking and waiting for the family to get home. The family does get home, and Peacemaker's there, ready to shoot him. He's got the sniper rifle trained on the family, and he can't pull the trigger. And he tried to draw the Dove of Peace on the rifle, but he's not a very good artist. He's like, I'm having trouble. I can't do it without the Dove of Peace on here. And then Vigilante shows up just out of nowhere and says, "Oh, move aside, brother." And he just boom, 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 starts shooting them.
Well, he wasn't sure. He had to shoot the kids, and they weren't sure if the kids were butterflies or not. He didn't get a really good look at the senator. But how did we
find that out?
But once they were sitting at the table, they were acting very strangely, and they had this honey-type liquid that these weird, like, long tongues came out of their mouth into the liquid, and they're like, they're all butterflies. He's like, take them all out. You have the green light to take them all out. Take them all out. And he couldn't shoot the kids. And that's when Vigilante stepped in and started popping off the kids.
And the wife, yeah.
And the wife. So
killed
he shot
both
three
kids
of
and
them.
the wife. Tried to shoot the senator, but he ran away. And then Judo Master shows up.
And started kicking everybody's ass.
And basically just worked everybody. Just totally took everybody out, and then took Peacemaker and Vigilante prisoner.
Yeah.
Along with another bodyguard. Harcourt and Adebayo run into the other bodyguard, and Adebayo's got a gun trained on him, and Harcourt's like, shoot him. He's seen us. We can't let him. And she won't kill him. And Harcourt just basically grabs a gun and shoots him. Said, like, you can't hesitate.
Can't do that, yeah.
Can't hesitate.
Yeah.
But now they're all running in the house because Peacemaker and Vigilante are in there. They're captured. And we find there's this secret lair in the home that's like really strange.
Glowing green. Did you think that was something to do with Green Lantern? Maybe?
Who knows?
I don't know. That's weird.
Who knows?
But it's some weird, like, alien tunnel with these green glowing rocks, and they're being tortured. Well, at least Vigilante's being tortured.
Right, and Judo Master's in there eating flaming. Are you eating flaming hot Cheetos? And he's like throwing them at him.
Yeah.
And then the father comes down. The senator comes down and starts torturing Vigilante. And Peacemaker is just like,
go for it.
He's like, don't worry, dude, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. And then Vigilante's like, what do you mean? He's got like a car battery hooked up to his testicles, and he keeps shocking him. And he's like, I'm not going to talk, dude, don't worry about it. And he's like, what do you mean you're not going to talk? It was a hysterical scene. And the senator was like, you guys are weak, you're he's like, no, not me. Oh, it's so funny.
And he starts to try to cut his little toe off. He's going to start cutting toes off. But he has trouble cutting the toe off because the blade is so dull. And Vigilante's in so much pain, screaming. He's like, just hang in there, dude. You can handle it. And he's like, what?
So hysterical.
It's funny, but it's gory. I mean, the killings and stuff, it's very gory. But, I mean, James Gunn, he doesn't pull back any punches, man.
Yeah. And then, ultimately they get rescued by the rest of the team. The senator escapes, or actually the senator gets shot in the face by Peacemaker with a shotgun. And Judo Master escapes, and we kind of see him run off. He's supposed to like go contact the rest of the team or something, right? But the Task Force X team comes down in, and they rescue Peacemaker and Vigilante.
And they capture Judo Master. They run into him, and the guy knocks him out.
Yeah. What's his name?
Diebeard.
John Economos. Yeah, Diebeard hits him with the car. He's running away in a car. He hits him, and then he takes him out with a crowbar. Yeah, so he does capture Judo Master eventually. But then they see that at the end of the episode, the big scene is something's like moving in the shot off face of the senator, and it's a small little like fairy creature,
alien fairy creature,
right,
that
with
kind
wings,
of flies
and it
out
kind
of
of
his
flies
face.
out of his face, and they're all looking at it like, what the?
And he goes, butterfly.
Yeah,
he kind of puts that together.
It was really, really strange, but that's kind of where we saw things end, and so that's kind of setting up that. And at the end of the episode, we see a shot of a computer screen and showing all of the suspected butterflies, and they're permeated everywhere in the world. So there's like butterflies everywhere now. So this is like a
kind of a little reminiscent of Secret Invasion,
the
right?
Skrulls,
the Skrulls.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, they've taken over so many people across the globe, and this is becoming a really big problem.
And the chick that he hooked up with and that tried to kill him, he took some weird tech from her room. It like this little idol that had these glowing weird symbols all over it. And later we find out when he pushes one of the buttons, it turns into this little mini spaceship.
Right, which one of those fairy creatures could fit into.
Right, and could fly off in. Yeah.
Right.
So
they're going to try to figure out what that is and everything else. But that's kind of what the series is setting up, how big this butterfly problem is, what the mission of the team is, and kind of what they're facing.
So good. It's so good.
And every episode has an end credit scene, so make sure you stick around for the end of the credits, because there is always some kind of end credit scene. It's either something funny or something that's alluding to something that's going to happen in the future. Like the first episode had an end credit scene where his dad was telling him about all the helmets, and one of the helmets gave you scurvy.
And everybody should have scurvy once in their lifetime. It doesn't give the enemy scurvy, it gives the person that's wearing it scurvy, which is so bizarre. And then also in episode 3, the father gets arrested, and while he's in prison, we find out that he is actually a supervillain called the White Dragon.
Right.
So he's a big comic book character as well. His father ends up to be this
not true in the comics, but they're using this character.
Yeah.
The White Dragon is a neo-Nazi
white supremacist character, and we find that out when he's in prison, that a lot of his followers,
all the prisoners recognize who he is, and they're all like kneeling and saying, giving him the Heil Hitler, like White Dragon, and all this, and everybody's like, holy crap,
It's so inventive, James Gunn is brilliant. So
I
can't wait for the next episode.
I loved them. I thought they were done very well. They flowed very well. There wasn't any like really slow parts. The plot moved forward. The writing was, dialogue was very good. And again, I think they've done very well with this so far, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they move.
Yeah, I
forward
like
with this.
John Cena. I think he's a perfect fit for this. He was born to play this role. Even if they shoot him a lot in his tighty whities, he's physically he is unbelievable. But I think he's funny. He's physically he's up for the task, and I can't wait for this. I think this will run all the way through February 18th. I think there's 8 total episodes. We've already had 3.
So 5 more weeks.
So we have 5 more weeks, and they launch and they drop on Thursdays at 3 a.m. in the morning. So that's all I know. But every Thursday they drop a new episode, and it will go through mid-February.
Yeah, it'll be great. And if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It really is worth watching. Very well done, and I think it's something to kind of fill the void that we have here over the next several weeks before we're waiting for some new content. So
Yeah.
great. All right, well, let's jump into the news section. We got a bunch of things that dropped this week. Big announcement, or big kind of like teaser we had, was it yesterday or the day before? Marvel dropped a teaser trailer on Hulu for the Moonknight series. It was basically a very short, 15-second teaser trailer that was announcing the full trailer being dropped Monday night during the NFL playoff game. So if you're looking for the full trailer for Moonknight, it will be on television Monday night during the NFL playoff game. And I mean, I know how excited you are about this series. And again, even in this little teaser trailer, there's some really cool scenes in there, and it's like, I can't wait for the full trailer.
I apologize. I apologize. I think I sent it to you like 5 times. I was so excited.
He was taking like slow-mo screenshots, and I'm like, are you breaking down a 15-second teaser?
Yeah, I had a few drinks, and I was breaking down the trailer shot by shot. And it's going to be incredible, man.
We saw Ethan Hawke for the first time, which we know he's in the series. So we still don't know what character he's playing, but we did see him, and he said you have darkness in you or something, right?
You have chaos
in you, yeah. And then
which tells you a lot. This guy's got some kind of sense, or he's not a human. I don't think. I think he's got something.
I think the full trailer is going to tell us a lot more about the plot, what characters are, who they're playing, and what the plot is of the series. You mentioned something that in the scene where we saw this in the original teaser that we got. He's beating on something in it looked like a subway station or some big room. And you're like,
some bathroom
that's
where
not that thing's not human. I'm like, yeah, it could be a jackal, which is a character from the Moonknight comics. So we'll find out that could be
an Egyptian type jackal that kind of looked like it could be a werewolf at night, werewolf by night night, werewolf by night. Yeah. Who knows? It looked like a jackal. I think you're absolutely right. But in the first teaser that they did, when they did that scissor reel for Disney Plus Day, that definitely did not show what he was beating. I think the CGI was finished in this. You can see some legs that are kind of creature-like, and definitely the face comes up that's creature-like. He's beating some kind of creature. But it's just awesome.
Well, hopefully, my big hope for Monday night is when we get the full trailer, we also get a date. Because that is something we still don't have, is when is this series coming to Disney Plus?
Now, don't get mad at me, Professor.
Well, you told me this, and we'll see what happens on Monday. But go ahead.
Don't get mad.
Right.
But I've been skipping around the dark web again, and I think the rumor is March 30th.
Oh, that would suck so bad.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, March 30th.
Well, so originally we anticipated that this was coming out in mid-February, really kind of like
after the Book of Boba Fett.
Disney Plus doesn't like to have their series coincide with each other, and right now they're in the Star Wars Book of Boba Fett series on Disney Plus.
What do you think of that? I know it's off topic that we usually don't cover, but what do you think about that?
I think it's been very good so far. I think this is a character that deserved to have a little bit more attention, and I like kind of the backstory into the character, but it's nowhere close to Mandalorian.
No.
But I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good too. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But that just shows you, and this is the difference between Moonknight and the Book of Boba Fett. Moonknight has an A-list actor, and this Book of Boba Fett has I hate to say it, a B-list actor, not really a leading man heading that series. Now, it's a character. He wears a mask a lot, just like the Mandalorian. So I get it. You really don't need this superstar to be behind the mask. But I don't know. I think that's the part that's missing. It's missing some of that Hollywood or that big star power to kind of drive this a little bit. But I think it's good too. I think it's not bad.
That's good, but we were hoping that when the Book of Boba Fett finished, they would give kind of like a week that they normally give, and we'd get Moonknight in mid-February.
I thought Miss Marvel would launch, but they
we knew that's been pushed to the summer already.
Yeah,
but we were hoping Moonknight was going to be next, and that was going to kind of be mid-February. And then you sent me something last week that there were rumors that they were doing some reshoots. And as we've talked about before on this show, whenever there's reshoots, that's never a good sign. And there's lots of reasons why there's reshoots, whether it's they have to change plot or they have, some things that they need to do in the tech or FX side of things, who knows. But we heard there was going to be some reshoots for Moonknight, and I'm like, wow, this is supposed to be happening really soon. How are they doing reshoots? And then if they are going to push it to the end of March, this makes sense. Again, my big hope for tomorrow night is when we get this trailer, we get a date. And if that date is February 18th, fantastic. If it's March 30th, less fantastic, but at least we have a date. I just want a date. Give me a date.
Too. Yeah. I'd love a date too.
If we get the full trailer with coming soon to Disney Plus, I'm going to be a little upset about that.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that's what you're going to get because, prepare for disappointment and you'll never be disappointed.
All right. Well, we'll see tomorrow night. So, again, watch the NFL playoff day. There's no time. We don't know when that's happening, so you just kind of got to watch the football game. I would assume shortly before or shortly after halftime is my guess is when.
And then I think they will launch it online shortly after that.
Yeah, it'll be online almost immediately after we see it on TV. Other big news and somewhat good news: Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is back in production after a holiday break. So we remember they halted production shortly before the holidays because Letitia Wright, one of the actress that plays Shuri in the original movie,
T'Challa's sister, the brilliant mind. Mm-hmm.
She had sustained some pretty
separated shoulder,
pretty bad physical injuries during filming. So this happened during filming, and whether it was a stunt gone awry or whatever, we don't know. But a separated shoulder and a concussion, she got really hurt. And instead of nursing her back to health and trying to force production, they said, hey, look, we're just going to take a break for the holidays. We'll come back after the holidays. Well, they're back, and they're now in Atlanta filming again, so that's good news. Letitia Wright is back. She is filming again as well, so she's overcome her injuries, and she's back on set. That's also good news.
Very good news.
The other good news is they did announce that while there was a brief interruption in filming, it is not going to change the release date of this movie.
Which is huge, guys. That's big news.
Well, and I think the announcement that Marvel and Disney made last year when they decided to push back every movie one release spot. So Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out in March. They pushed that back to May, and it pushed every movie back another spot. So while Black Panther Wakanda Forever was supposed to originally come out in July, that has now been pushed to November, so that gave them kind of some extra runway there. So they're like, look, we've had some delays, but it's not going to affect when this movie comes out. So we do expect that to land on November 11th as originally planned.
Yeah, I think a lot of agents and a lot of the talent that are involved in these productions have always said that the unrealistic deadlines and timelines for these shows to come out has always been the big problem. And that's probably a symptom of why Justice League wasn't as good as it was. They had a deadline they had to meet. They pushed it through, and it wasn't as good as everybody wanted it to be, or it wasn't as good as the Snyder version, that's for sure. So I don't mind it. It's frustrating as a fan and as a fanboy to be delayed again and be pushed back. Like that March 30th for Moonknight kind of killed me. But hopefully, and I know they want to get it right, so hopefully they do get it right.
Well, and as we've mentioned before in the show, there's a finite amount of resources in the Hollywood industry to do some of the things that need done. I mean, there's only a certain number of, special effects, people that can do the special effects. And they're now working on Disney Plus series, Marvel movies, Star Wars Disney Plus series, Star Wars movies, and I mean they've got so many things they got to get done, and there's only a finite amount of resources, and they're hampered with COVID restrictions, which is also another thing they're all still dealing with, and people are out of work because they've caught the Omicron variant or whatever, and it's just difficult. Look, I think we're fine for the rest of the year. I would be very surprised if we've had any more substantial delays from a Marvel perspective. We've already gotten some from Sony, but I think the May release date for Doctor Strange is well within their reach there. And hopefully nothing else is delayed substantially for the rest of the year, so we can just only hope.
Yeah, agree.
Another big thing about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the other big rumor is that M'Baku, the leader of the gorilla tribe, is Winston Duke is the actor that plays that role. He got a pretty big pay raise for this movie, so that leads us to believe he's going to have a much bigger role in this movie going forward. And again, rumors abound that maybe he's the one that picks up the mantle of Black Panther. Who knows? But he did get a big pay raise, and he's got a lot more screen time in this movie. So, and I think he's a great actor, and that character was fantastic in all the movies he's been in. So, looking forward to that.
I'd love to see them bring Killmonger back. The actor that plays him, Michael B. Jordan, is absolutely phenomenal. I know we've
talked about this. They kind of wasted him as an actor on that character, but you know what? They could.
He was brilliant.
Have a big redemption arc and say, hey, this is your time to pick up the mantle and do what's good for Wakanda. But
wow.
But you see what they did with that character in the What If series. They're like, even when he does have good intentions, he still does things the wrong way. So who knows what they're going to do there? Well, and I think that's one of the things I'm most excited to find out. What are they going to do with the plot of this movie because of Chadwick Boseman passing away and the T'Challa character? Again, we have been told by Marvel they weren't going to recast that character, but
rumor has it that they
may
rethinking that.
Yeah, who knows? And again, I'm going to leave it up to the minds that be to figure that out, because this is a big franchise for them, so they got to get figured out right.
Feige, if you're having issues with deciding, give us a call. We'll walk you through it. I mean, we'll just sit down, we'll pencil it out, and we'll get you through it, baby.
Yeah, bounce it around with the SuperTalk guys. We'll
absolutely.
We got another big rumor this week. Fantastic Four, again, one of the big Marvel franchises we're really looking forward to now that Marvel owns that franchise now with the acquisition of the Fox characters. They're going to reboot that. We know John Watts is scheduled to direct that movie.
He's already writing the script.
He is currently scheduled to... So he was the original director of the Final Destination movie franchise.
Horror flick,
Yeah, horror flick. Concept behind those horror flicks was... that when it's your time to die, it's your time to die, and there's no stopping it. Kind of the nature of the Final Destination. They've had 5 movies. Well, Final Destination 6 is scheduled to be released sometime later this year, and he's producing that movie. He is not directing it, so he's producing that movie. Rumors are now that Fantastic Four will begin production early 2023, which leads us to believe it's going to be put into that November slot that is currently, that Marvel has and says they're going to release a movie November 3rd of 2023, but we don't know what movie that is. That would lead us to believe that
seems quick to me.
Well, we'll see, but the rumors are that Fantastic Four is going to be in that November time slot or November release slot of 2023.
Then we should get casting rumors here shortly.
Again, another rumor is that we are going to get casting announcements sometime soon. So that means in the next 3 to 4 months they're going to release who they've cast in these roles. And again, there's been some rumors about who has been cast. Again, Seth Rogen as the Thing is one of the big rumors. Kristen Bell as Invisible Woman is another rumor that's been out there.
She's a smoke show. She's cute as shit.
So I think we'll find out that casting announcements for Fantastic Four very shortly, because if they're going to begin production on that, they can't just let that linger.
No.
But good news, I think we might see that by the end of next year, which would be amazing.
Yeah.
Another big rumor that dropped this week is that we are anticipating the release of the She-Hulk series on Disney Plus following Moonknight. So whenever Moonknight is released, we think the next one coming out will be the She-Hulk series. Another big rumor is, and we heard this several months ago, that they were talking about doing a standalone Hulk movie, and that standalone Hulk movie would be the World War Hulk storyline that we really never got from Ragnarok when we got the Sakaar.
Yeah, it was kind of like an abridged version of it.
Right, but we never really found out why he went to Sakaar and what happened, how he became a gladiator, and all these other things. So the rumor is that the She-Hulk series, so we know Mark Ruffalo is going to be in that She-Hulk series. The rumor is that She-Hulk series is going to set up a World War Hulk movie with the end of that series, Mark Ruffalo going off into space back to Sakaar and becoming this, vengeful World War Hulk character that we're looking forward to, which would set up a movie. So
wow,
that would be really cool.
That would be,
and I think it would be a great launching point. And again, that's the promise that we were given when they talked about these Disney Plus series, was that, hey, these Disney Plus series are not only going to be self-contained properties that we can really enjoy, but they're going to set up and integrate with some of the movies that are coming down the road. Hey, what a better way to do that?
Why not?
Yeah.
Hulk's a huge franchise. Get for them. I mean, you got to do something else with him. Ragnarok was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need more of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I just need more of Hulk kicking ass and not getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and the World Breaker Hulk character would be the ass-kicking version of that character.
Let's go.
Not the nice Professor
Hulk.
Hulk.
Let's go.
It's the everybody is against me. I'm out for blood. Hulk. Yeah, that would be
and
cool. The reasons for that. Again, going back to kind of the movie and the comic book history behind World War Hulk, he gets sent into space because he's such a threat to Earth. He ends up landing on the planet Sakaar accidentally. He was supposed to be going to a lifeless planet, or a planet with no other life forms, and to live out the rest of his days. But he ends up in Sakaar and becomes a gladiator, meets another gladiator. They get married, have a child. She gets killed. He gets pissed. He blames the Illuminati, comes back to Earth, and is out for vengeance. So, who knows, man? That would be so cool, right?
Yeah, that would be tough.
Yep. And speaking of, there's another enormous amount of rumors going around. I mean, the rumors now are rampant, not quite at the level of where they were with Spider-Man No Way Home, but Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness has now got so many rumors about it. With the trailer that we saw at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw what we think is another version of Doctor Strange. We think might be Strange Supreme from the What If series. Well, we're hearing that there might be a version of the Illuminati in the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie, kind of behind what's happening with the multiverse version of the Illuminati. So the Illuminati in the comic books was, we'll say there's been multiple versions, but the original version was Reed Richards, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Namor, Doctor Strange. Yep. So we're hearing, and Professor X was in that as well. We're hearing we might get a version of that, and that leads us to some of the rumors that we're hearing that there's going to be a version of Professor X, maybe a previous version of Professor X in this movie. We heard, James McAvoy or Patrick Stewart may be making a cameo in this movie. We heard rumors of Wanda fighting against, Professor X, and maybe that's where this comes from. But Strange Supreme could be the Doctor Strange version. There's rumors of another version of Iron Man that shows up.
Tom Cruise playing a variant of Iron Man.
Potentially,
I've heard some crazy stuff.
Right? Yeah, and then we're hearing that maybe Captain Carter is part of
instead of Captain America, Captain Carter.
Captain Carter from the What If series, maybe live action version of that character being in this movie. Hey,
Watcher, you said
and potentially, we might see Jeffrey Wright reprise his role from the What If animated series as a live version of his character, the Watcher. Wow, would that be cool?
Well, we also, the rumors are that this is going to feature a tremendous amount of Marvel characters. I'm all down for it. Again, I was very hesitant about Spider-Man No Way Home. It sounded very busy. It had a lot of characters in it. It was very busy. I felt it was getting too crowded. But boy, was I wrong. It worked. So I'm not saying a damn thing about this movie.
I think what Marvel's done with Benedict Cumberbatch and the Doctor Strange character, very similar to what they did with Iron Man, right? In the first 10 years of Marvel. They've kind of made him the very central, pivotal character of the MCU right now. And I think they're banking on this character playing a really big role, not only in the main Marvel properties like the Avengers and future Avengers teams, but potentially in like the Dark Avengers or the Night Stalkers or the that, hey, we're going to have, Ghost Rider and Blade and there's so many ways they could go with this Doctor Strange character, and I think they've banked on that, and I think this movie's going to set a lot of that up.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Great character. That first movie, if you go back and watch it, is top notch. It's one of my favorites. So.
All right, well, let's get into our topic of the week this week. Of course, sponsored by our friends over at Studio GG Studios. And what's the name of the new song?
Home of the Man Band, Corn of the Cob. You should go to YouTube, search it. Their new superhero song is called Black Viper. I'm putting little clips of it at the end of all of our YouTube show. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's
Black
a great
Viper. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
Please go visit Studio GG Studios YouTube page. You'll find everything there. So thank you, Studio G. We appreciate your support. So the history of Peacemaker. That's our topic of the week this week.
I'm so glad this is the topic of the week because a lot of people have been asking me, is it similar to the comic books? What was he in the comic books? I've never heard of him. Great character, but what's the comic? So this is great, Professor.
Yeah,
take out your notebooks, kids. He's going to lay some knowledge on you. Here we go.
So the Peacemaker character originally debuted in another comic book publisher. It was called Carlton Comics, and that's where the Peacemaker character debuted originally. Had his own comic in Carlton Comics, very true to the origins of the Peacemaker character, which we'll talk through a little bit. Carlton Comics was acquired by DC,
right?
And that's how this Peacemaker character and all the other characters that came from Carlton Comics made their way into the DC.
He was like the number one character for that comic book,
right? For Carlton, it was kind of the publishers of Carlton Comics wanted to take. They decided to base their comic books on anti-heroes more than heroes, and so that's why the Peacemaker character was kind of like one of their main characters, because they were like, we don't want to just pick these goody two-shoes like Superman and
Captain America,
right? We want to create these guys that are fractured and troubled and just really just disturbed individuals, and that's what we're going to create. But DC ended up acquiring Carlton Comics and all the characters that they created, and that's how he came into DC Comics. But the origins of the character Peacemaker itself, very similar to what we saw described in the Suicide Squad movie. He was raised by a very abusive as well as manipulative father who was a anti-war person who thought that, hey, the only way to stop war is to become violent. The character. Obviously, the name of the character is Chris. What's his last name? I can't remember. Chris something. Chris.
Oh, for the Peacemakers?
Yeah.
Chris something, yeah.
Chris Smith or something like that. But anyway, he decided to become a diplomat. So he originally focused his efforts on diplomatic solutions to war. And his lifelong mission was to end war at all costs. And he went to Washington, D.C., lobbied on Capitol Hill. And
he doesn't care how many people he has to kill to get peace.
Well, eventually.
Yeah.
So he realized once his diplomatic efforts were not working that he had to go a different route. And that's when he created and took on the Peacemaker character. And he said, look, I've tried to do it the right way. Now I'm going to try to do it my way. And I'm willing... peace at all costs, and I'm willing to kill anybody and everybody as long as it results in peace, right? So that's his kind of mission. Originally, he focused on non-lethal weapons, so he was, focused on martial arts and using things that weren't killing people, but then he realized after time, look, this isn't working either. I got to start killing people, and he, then started moving to more lethal forms of weapons, and like guns and bazookas and everything else, and he's like, peace at all costs, including killing everything and anything that gets in my way, right? So that's the character. His father was really the one that kind of created, this personality that's really disturbed, which we're seeing coming out in the series we're seeing on HBO Max. Somebody who, was just kind of like mind bent as a child, just completely blind. We saw this very, very, very well in the Suicide Squad movie that, the reasons behind what he did and how he did it was just so disturbed. It's like, where does this come from? And I think we're seeing him kind of have this internal struggle now of like, man, I'm an asshole.
Right.
And he's figuring it out in this series now. So
not in the comics.
Yeah, not in the comics. No, he was always just the zealot that was just like, peace at all costs, and I'll kill everybody who gets in my way, right?
Yeah.
And it's the most ridiculous, and I think that's one of the reasons why James Gunn really gravitated towards this character. It's like, if you think about it logically, it's the most ridiculous thing ever, but it works for this character, right?
Sure,
you know, and he believes it so steadfastly that he's going to make it work. Ultimately, in the DC comics, once he made his way into DC, he was again one of these anti-heroes. It was kind of this periphery villains. He did end up being arrested, went to prison, and was recruited by Amanda Waller into Task Force X or the Suicide Squad. Became a member of the Suicide Squad very later on. In some of the later versions of the Suicide Squad, that's where we saw him show up. Was in a lot of different things. I mean, he was involved with like Dr. Manhattan and a bunch of other things in the comic books, but that was kind of a very weird storyline. But on Mars and a bunch of other things that were going on there. But he was a member of the Suicide Squad in the comic books, which is again one of the reasons why I thought James Gunn chose that character. And again, John Cena, I think perfect person to play this character.
Born to play Peacemaker.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. Again, I think they've been to some extent very true. I think one of the big deviations they made from the comic books, which we're seeing in the series, is his father was not the White Dragon in the comic books, but they're using
there was a White Dragon.
There was a White Dragon.
But it wasn't his father. Yeah.
Right. But I think that it's a great use of his father and kind of showing why he was so disturbed, because he's this, overzealous, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, character. I think it's great. It's really brilliant. So we're looking forward to it. So again, a little bit of history of the Peacemaker, and just kind of give you that, and we'll go into
Thank you, Professor. Awesome. Great knowledge. Hey, man, let's ring the bell.
All right. Well,
hell of a show.
Yeah, hell of a show. That's it for us this week. We'll be back next week for more Super Talk. To get in touch with us on social media, hit us up via email, supertalkpodcast@outlook.com, or @supertalkpod on Twitter. Until then, stay super, everyone.
And we're out.
Thanks, YouTube. Keep up the light. Hey, the support for the anniversary episode was off the charts. The number of views, downloads, watch time. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it.
Keep it up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.